Well, that was 1998 when all that happened. Finally, May the 4th of 1999, the final status of Jerusalem, according to the original Oslo Accords, was supposed to be negotiated and implemented. Now, they had put off dealing with Jerusalem because it was too hot to handle. And when the Oslo Accords were originally signed back on September the 13th of 1993, they had said that final status talks on Jerusalem should begin by May the 4th of 1996. However, when that date came, Israel was in the middle of an election. Then Netanyahu won. They said to him, will you negotiate the final status of Jerusalem? He said, what is there to negotiate? It's ours, always has been ours. God gave it to us. That's our capital, end of story. Consequently, there was no progress made during the reign of Benjamin Netanyahu concerning the status of Jerusalem. However, when 1999 showed around May the 4th, still a problem. Arafat says, I'm going to declare a Palestinian state. Clinton said, please don't do that. You're going to blow everything. All the progress we've made since the Oslo talks began in 1991, you're going to blow it up if you do that. You cannot do that. Arafat agreed to postpone it until the year 2000, to put it off until September 13th, the year 2000. Consequently, when that time began to roll around, now there's one more thing that happened I wanted to make sure you know. In the meantime, in 1999, the world community decides that Mr. Milosevic is not conducting himself properly in Yugoslavia, that they have to go in and defend the Kosovars. So while the bombs of NATO are falling on Yugoslavia, the Italian ambassador to Israel is talking with the foreign minister of Israel at the time, Ariel Sharon. And he said to him, you all better get your Palestinian problem solved, or we're going to have to come to Israel and do for you what we're doing for Yugoslavia and their Kosovar problem right now. It hit the headlines of the major newspapers of Israel that a threat was being issued that the world community would someday invade Israel. Needless to say, I was astounded, since the Bible specifically prophesies that's exactly what is going to happen. Zechariah 14:2, all nations will gather themselves against Jerusalem. Now that was 1999. Also in 1999, Ehud Barak defeats Netanyahu with the support of the American government. Clinton loved Barak, hated Netanyahu. So Clinton sends his own campaign manager, James Carville, to Israel to manage the campaign of Ehud Barak. And Barak wins by a landslide. Everybody said there's going to be peace. But you know, you can't make peace with Satan by compromise. Because the more you compromise, the greater the price that he demands. Well, that's what Mr. Barak, since he took office in May of '99, has now found out. The next thing that happened was the Camp David summit. It was at Camp David, July the 11th through July the 25th. Barak, Arafat, and Clinton cloistered themselves to try to pound out a final agreement. Now, why is this so important? Because Arafat has now said, we will declare a Palestinian state on September the 13th of 2000, and here it is, July of 2000. They've got a scant 2 months left before the Palestinians are going to declare a state, and when they declare a state, then the boundaries have to be drawn. And if Israel doesn't agree with where Arafat says the boundaries should be, then Israel is going to use their might to draw the lines, and then you've got a Middle East war on your hands. Clinton did not want that to happen, so he put all of his eggs in the basket, in the Camp David basket, and they came there and they began to negotiate. Now, the world was stunned at how much Barak was willing to give away at that time. He even offered to surrender parts of Jerusalem, even though it had been accepted that no prime minister would ever surrender Jerusalem. This man, Barak, was such a compromiser, so fearful of the will of the world community, and so desperate for peace at any price, that he actually offered to surrender the Temple Mount at Camp David.